All right, we are live. So welcome back to Mastering You. So I decided just to mix things up. I always like to kind of try new things out. I decided that I'll do part 2 of this little 2-part mini-series on my 20 lessons of 2020. I decided to do that live. So we're going live right now. We're going live out to the Mastering You group, going out to LPT, Kettering, going out to my performance page. So if you are joining me live, then come and say hello. And also what I'd love to do, what I thought would be really cool, is if you want to post your lessons below. What did you learn from 2020? What lessons do you think that you can take into this year that you think will help you or others? I've been sharing mine. So in case you missed it, in the last episode, I shared my top 10, my first top 10 lessons, but I've actually got 12. So I've got 10 lessons and 2 kind of bonus lessons. And what I did, in case you missed part 1, is I basically categorized them. So I'm sharing lessons that I learned from nutrition, lessons in business. So if you're a business owner, or actually some of these business lessons kind of apply to anyone, to be quite honest. Lessons in mindset, and yes, obviously lessons in fitness as well. And I actually have a bonus lesson as well. So if you want to listen in, then cool, stay with me. If you want to catch up on this later, then you can check out the Mastering You podcast. So you can find that on any of the podcast platforms. So Apple, Spotify, any of those. Google Podcasts, just search Mastering You with Matt Sutton. Awesome. I'm just going to have a quick look, see if we've got any comments yet. Feel free to post your own lessons below. So let's kick it off, guys. So let's start with nutrition. I've made some notes on this. I'm going to be kicking around all over the place. But nutrition. So in 2020, I think 2020 for me, nutrition-wise, was the year I really kind of embraced intermittent fasting. Early on in 2020, around about the time when the pandemic kicked off, I got really back into sort of ketogenic dieting and intermittent fasting. And I really found the 16-8 protocol just worked really well for me. So in case you've never done any sort of intermittent fasting or any fasting of any type before, there are lots of benefits to it. One of the benefits is really it kind of gets your appetite in check. So this time of year actually isn't a bad time to practice some intermittent fasting because typically over the Christmas period we eat too much, right? And the problem with eating too much is your body gets used to eating more. It sounds obvious, but intermittent fasting, it kind of like it sorts that out because you have to go through the process of feeling hungrier for a few hours or so. But what happens is, as your hormones get regulated, I won't go into all the science of it, but as your hormones kick in and your ghrelin levels, which is known as your hunger hormone, once that kind of evens out, those feelings of hunger kind of like start to decrease. And you go through this period where you're actually feeling, wow, I'm actually feeling fine. And you kind of can't believe it. Like when we've just had one of our LPT members, he's just done, I think it's a 60 or 70 hour fast. And that, for some of you watching, that may sound crazy. He's been training with us every day since we started. Malcolm, if you're listening, then big shout out to you, big well done for doing that. And I did a coaching call with him, and he was absolutely buzzing. Okay, now he's not going to stay. A lot of people think, oh, that's unhealthy not to do that. Your body, if you've got body fat to lose, you'd be surprised at how long you can go in a fasted state. And actually, yeah, it's got loads of health benefits, longevity. It gives your digestive system a bit of a break. And there are lots of other reasons to do some fasting. But for me, the sweet spot was a 16-8 protocol. So I would have dinner around kind of like 7 o'clock, 7:30, and I just wouldn't eat until like midday the next day, maybe 1 o'clock, sometimes 2 o'clock. And that just suited my personal lifestyle because as a PT, as a coach, when our gyms are open, I'll be up really early. I'll be coaching people, training people. So, I just have like a black coffee or maybe a keto drink. And I just wouldn't eat until 1 o'clock and I'd be fine, because your body gets conditioned to that way, and so I would have an eating window of about 8 hours. So it's just one thing that worked for me, but you can try it out yourself. And so that was number one lesson in 2020 on nutrition. So what we got next? So moving on to a business related lesson. So this one here is a real simple one. A lot of these lessons, I guess, are fairly obvious, but it's not until you kind of really experience it you realize the importance. So for me in business, like if you're a business owner like myself, building strong relationships is absolutely essential. And I think one of the reasons LPT's been able to continue delivering, what I think our members would agree are a really great service is we've spent lots of time over the years building really strong relationships. We're not like a gym where you go to and you're just a number. We really genuinely care about your results, and we genuinely care about you achieving your best results in your life. And, because I personally have been doing that with LPT for the last 12 years, those relationships have stood us in good stead. And we've had loads of support from our members, and it's been phenomenal. It's almost been a reminder to me that investment in time, building strong relationships, it will last you for a hell of a long time. So, whether you're just starting a business or you're running a business, never forget the power of building strong relationships and maintaining those strong relationships. So, I do email marketing to my email list pretty much weekly. We're doing I do content like this pretty much 2 to 3 times a week. I do coaching calls. We obviously see our members in our studios when we're open, and it really pays off. So that would be number 2 on my list. Okay, let's move on to mindset. So this lesson here is don't wait till it's too late. Okay, don't wait till it's too late. And this is kind of covering like an array of different categories. So when I say don't wait till it's too late, I'm talking about things like your mobility, your nutrition, your health, your general wellness. Too often we wait and allow things to get to the point where they break before we start to make a change. And I definitely, that was one lesson that I've learned recently. Have had some really bad back pain and some kind of like issues that I've been working with just over Christmas, that if I'm honest, it's just been down to me. It's my own responsibility. And it's me kind of not paying attention to certain types of training that I should have been doing, and just kind of thinking that I didn't need to. And I made the mistake that a lot of people make, is wait until it's too late. And I think it was Christmas Eve, where I literally, for 2 weeks actually, following Christmas Eve, I literally couldn't sit down due to some sciatic pain. And that's really just down to not following the type of training program I should have been in 2020. And I definitely learned my lesson. But there's lots of people that do the same with their nutrition. That if you have one takeaway, if you have one McDonald's, or you're not going to get fat from that one meal. The problem is, if you're having that every week, if you're drinking every night, you're not going to have an issue there and then. But it's that culmination, and then you're waiting to the point where you get type 2 diabetes, you get liver problems. Okay, so stop waiting, I guess, is the lesson, and just start taking action now. So that's number 3, guys. Post your own lessons below if you're joining me live. So number 4 on my list, we're moving on to fitness. Okay, fitness is, okay, so this one here, this is a real short and easy one. But again, it's one of those that I and a lot of people definitely neglect So it's not forgetting your deep tissue work. So I'm sure some of you out there are really good at going to your local sports massage therapist and getting like a deep tissue massage to release and relieve the tight muscles in your body. But if you're not doing that, then a real simple fix for that, and one that will save you quite a lot of money, is doing some deep tissue fascial release work. I literally have these deep tissue massage balls pretty much everywhere, in my work bag, in my drawers, at home. So you can always, like right now, I could stick this one behind my back. I could just start to release some tension, some pain. These aren't going to cure your back pain. They're not going to cure anything that structurally, but they will just release that tension. And in the long run, that can save you a lot of pain. So for me personally, getting back to doing some deep tissue release work regularly is definitely on my agenda. So whether typically a good time to do that is just before your workout or after a long day when you're kind of feeling a little bit stressed. When you can feel like the tension in your shoulders or around your shoulders, doing some deep breath work, some diaphragmatic breathing, and then following that up with some deep tissue work. So maybe some foam rolling, maybe, like I said, some deep tissue massage therapy. That can be absolutely awesome. Okay. Next up, let's move back to, where are we? Let's go up to nutrition again. So I mentioned last time in nutrition category that I've been following the 16-8 intermittent fasting strategy. And one of the things that I started doing again around about the time last February that worked really well for me to help me with that is using what's known as exogenous ketones. So I won't go too kind of like sciencey on this. We actually have a full podcast on fasting, by the way. So if you check out Mastering You, the podcast, you can find the podcast with myself and Gavin Allenson, where we go deep into this. But exogenous ketones is basically a simple powder form drink. You drink it. It's a bit of a hack. It's not faddy, but it's not something you would do all the time. But I just found they really helped and made it easy to stick to the 16-8 some days. So I wouldn't always use them, but they definitely, one of the things that they do is they get you into a ketogenic state within about half an hour to 45 minutes. So you feel pretty amazing. And they definitely, once you hit that point where you feel hungry, they kick that in the bud because of the ketogenic state that you go in. So that was my other nutrition lesson. Another business lesson actually was a recent one from Mr. the legend that is Dax Moy. If you missed the episode I did with Dax, then definitely go and listen in on that one. I think that was around 53, 54. So the lesson from Dax was to read more fiction. So if you're a business owner, then probably like most of you, like me, you tend to read businessy books, productivity books, business books, maybe learning about your expertise in business. So whatever that is, but then the business itself. So whether it's marketing, sales, and I very, very rarely ever read fiction. And he said that one of the reasons that he's been such a prolific writer over the years and content creator is because he reads lots of fiction. And because he reads lots of fiction, he learns how to use different words better. He basically becomes a better writer as a result of using fiction, be able to kind of explain things better, I guess, and in a way that actually gets to the audience really engaged. And that when you mentioned that kind of definitely struck a kind of like a chord with me, because if there's one thing I've always found with Dax and many of my peers is he's such an engaging guy. So that's always been very awesome for me. So that's number 8, I think. 7 or 8 now we're on, and that was the business. And then moving back on to, where are we? Mindset. Okay, here's one for you guys. So Post below if anyone uses a to-do list. Pop a. Okay. We've got a couple of comments here. I'll get to them in a second. So, if you write a to-do list, here is my lesson. It's all, and I can never say this word, but it's all about specificity. Yes, I said it. First go, specificity. So one of the things that I found is, for instance, if I schedule a workout in my diary, so if I say, right, if I put a, schedule in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. workout, even though I've scheduled it, I would say, and I've kind of reviewed this, I would say on average, about 20-30% of the time, I would not do it. So I've scheduled it, but just not do it. About 20-30% of the time. However, if I actually write down what the workout's going to be, or if I'm following a program that I've pre-programmed for myself, there's only like 5-10% chance that I won't do it. So what's the difference there? The difference is I'm giving my brain clarity. So, I just mentioned Dax Moy a second ago, and in the episode, we talk about prediction response. Okay, so prediction response in regards to the brain basically means when you give your brain more clarity, more prediction about what's going to happen, you gain more confidence, and you give your brain the kind of the upshot that yes, you're going to do this. Okay. The problem is with a lack of specificity. If you just say work out, you're giving yourself work. You're having to think about, okay, what I'm going to do. This is one of the reasons why so many people don't get results in the gym, because they just walk into the gym. They've got no plan. They're just sort of like, oh, what should I do? Or maybe I'll go on the cross trainer, or maybe I'll do a few weights. And they walk out and they feel like they've not done anything because they probably haven't done anything. And this is like, no judgment, but this is why other people get great results at LPT, because we pre-plan for them. We do the programming for them, so they don't have to worry about that. It's why they get such good results, because they're doing the best type of programming, but they're not having to think about it. But you can use this strategy with anything. So rather than writing down, I'm going to batch cook, for instance. Like we talk about batch cooking a lot with our members. Yeah, you might do it, but there's a much higher chance that you'll batch cook if you actually write down the recipe that you're going to batch cook. So if you say, right, this weekend I'm going to batch cook XYZ. I'm going to make a curry on Sunday night or Saturday night, and I'm going to batch cook 3 portions for lunches next week. And this is the recipe that I'm going to follow. Guess what? There's a much higher likelihood that you're actually going to do it. And this sounds like nitpicky, but nitpicky. I can't say that. But it makes a massive difference. So yeah, just try that out. So next time you're writing your to-do list, basically what I'm saying is give yourself more clarity about what you're actually going to do. I've actually started doing this with cold showers as well. I've even started putting in my schedule cold showers. Like with the injury that I've had, I've found cold showers to be an absolute game changer. But if I just put in, like, let me go to an extreme. Like if even the term cold shower puts you off, and you were to put that in your diary, and you looked at what you've got to do, cold shower, you'd probably run a mile. Whereas if you were to sort of say, well, okay, I'm going to do a cold shower because it's going to release inflammation from my body. It's going to release the tightness in my body. It's going to improve my energy for that day. If that's the thing that you're reading, then you are far more likely to actually do that cold shower, right? So anyway, I think I got my point across with that. So Martin has said, been a tough year, lockdown, not always easy for me to keep positive, but probably biggest lesson I've taken is to be patient and realize I can't change or force anything out of my control. Not working, but training, but studying to be a PT. Also, yeah, I saw that, buddy. And have also worked hard on my own training and nutrition. Have lost 2.5 stone. Fantastic. Can't pick a cure at the moment. Although I'm poor now rather than billiard snooker. Cool. Well, I mean, fantastic. Well done for losing 2.5 stone during a pandemic. Most people, Martin, have been gaining 2.5 stone. So that is absolutely awesome. And regarding not being positive, again, like, you definitely won't be on your own. But I would say that's a massive positive in itself, that you've actually managed to lose that amount of weight. So there's obviously something that you're doing. And in regards to becoming a PT, you've got a story to tell right there, which, a lot of people will really relate to. So, yes, that's going to be massively on your side as you start to grow your PT business. And feel free to always reach out to me if you need help with that. So, cool. Where are we getting specific? Another fitness lesson. Last year in particular, particularly after the first lockdown or during the first lockdown. In fact, I must admit, I've been doing this for a few years, but I didn't realize how useful it was until the pandemic. So this is batching my cardio. Okay, so this is more of it's kind of a fitness lesson, but it's also like a productivity lesson. So I started doing this, like I said, a few years ago. If I was doing emails, like anyone that works for themselves, lots of emails, or maybe I just want to like listen to a new audio book or podcast, I would always try and batch my cardio work with those tasks. Because, if I'm just walking outside or if I'm just cycling on like a recumbent bike, I could easily do both at the same time. So a lot, let's face it, when it comes to fitness and, working out, time and money are generally the two biggest obstacles for most people. So if burning calories is up on your agenda because you want to lose weight or you just want to improve your cardio fitness, then why not get double the amount done? Why not, if you've got messages to send, or I use, I do coaching calls when I'm doing my cardio sometimes. I do WhatsApp messages. I send my guys, my group, like WhatsApp voice memos. There's so many things that you can do just whilst batching your cardio, and it just means you get so much more done. Sometimes I'll even just, I'll actually write my emails using the voice memo. So I don't know if you know that you can do that, but you can just type out your voice, your emails or your text messages using your own voice, providing your phone can recognize your voice and your accent. But again, just saves so much time. So that's my little lesson for you guys on the fitness front, and it's like a little productivity hack as well. So we're getting close now to the 10. What else have we got? Business. Another business lesson that I learned, and again, this is one of those lessons that when you hear a lesson or you read a lesson, or maybe you just read something in a book and you think that it's a good idea, but it takes a few times to kind of really register. I think this is the first time I heard this was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. But I think it really truly hit home around the early last year. And this is another business lesson. So any of you guys running a business, I think this one will be an absolute game changer for you. So this is redefining what your business actually does. What actually is it that you do? Okay, so like for me, most personal trainers think that they just deliver personal training, and that's generally not what you do. That's not what you want to be known for, because if that is what you label yourself as, then you don't have any USP. There's loads of personal trainers out there. So what makes you different? What is it that you actually deliver? And, that can relate to any type of business, whether it's, beauticians or hairdressers or car mechanics. Like, what do you actually deliver? And so for me, I've known for many years that we're not about personal training or just getting people fit. What we're about is empowering people with the knowledge, the education, the guidance, and the support to live what we call like a triple H life, which is health, happiness, and high performance. Okay. Now, can you see how that is completely different Well, like if I think about what's going to motivate me to get up in the morning to go and help people, is it going to be, well, I'm going to go and do some personal training with some people, or is it going to be I want to help people live healthier, happier, higher performing life and empower them with the knowledge and the support to do that? Well, obviously it's going to be the second one. Okay, so have a think about that. Have a think about what is it that you're actually doing, mate. And the thing is with this isn't just a lesson that business owners can gain from. This is any job that you have. There's going to be a far deeper reason for it than just the job title. Like even let's say you're a carer. That was one of my first jobs. Care work. You shouldn't be going to work thinking that you're just a carer. Like, what is it that you actually do? You could think, well, I empower someone else's life. I build confidence in them and I self-worth for them, So don't define yourself by just your job role, I guess is the lesson in a way. So we're kind of getting there now, guys. What else have I got? I think that is no. We've still got a few more. So batch in your cardio, done that one. This is another fitness lesson. So this is quite a biggie actually. So this is good health suits being an all-rounder. Okay, so that's the lesson. Good. Actually, I would change that to great health suits being an all-rounder. Okay, so what does that mean? It means what I find and what I've observed over the years is people tend to fit into one category quite often. So they'll be runners, or maybe they'll be cyclists, or maybe they'll be bodybuilders, or maybe they'll be CrossFitters. And there's nothing wrong with being in a club. That's fantastic. But what I tend to find is people will often get really sidetracked in only being in that one lane, so that they'll be absolutely just pure CrossFit, or they'll be absolutely purely runners. And if they're runners, they're not going to do anything else. Or if it's cycling, they're not going to do anything else but cycle. And, what I would say is from a health standpoint, it's a bad strategy. So from a health standpoint, unless you're wanting to be an elite athlete in that area, unless you want to be a champion bodybuilder or a champion powerlifter or a champion runner, the only thing that you're going to have to show for having that kind of level of commitment, if that's all you're doing long term, is likely going to be some injuries. I've seen this time and time again with runners over the years. They'll have knee problems because they've done a lack of strength training in their body over the years. If it's some sort of like bodybuilding, that they're going to lack the cardiovascular fitness long term often. Now this is a generalized thing I'm saying here. So I'm not calling out everyone that does these things. I think they're all great. I think they're all really good things to do. But what I would suggest and what the lesson is try and be more of an all-rounder. If your goal is just to be a healthy human, then do some strength training, do some cycling, do some running, play some sports, mix it up, and you will reap the benefits long term. Because long term, you're going to build some agility. You're going to build some mobility. If you do some yoga, you're going to build some strength. If you do some strength training or bodybuilding, you're going to build some cardiovascular fitness. If you do some running or cycling, and that is how you build health. So I think that is 10. Now I've got a couple of bonus ones for you as well. So bonus number 1, just to wrap up this episode, is objectivity is the key to progress. So what I find when people are going on the journey of self-improvement, trying to get fitter bodies, be healthier, is if they're not seeing fast results, they really beat themselves up, and they sort of tell themselves they can't do it and they quit, which is really sad. So what this lesson is all about is taking a really objective approach to your progress and almost looking at it like you're coaching someone else, and each week just kind of like looking at the different areas that you want to improve. And rather than thinking of yourself and being judgmental of yourself, almost imagine you are coaching yourself, and imagine that just how would you talk to yourself? I bet any money you'd be a lot kinder to yourself. Too often people like beat themselves up and call themselves like names, whereas if you could be objective about yourself and say, look, it's been a tough time. It's been, we're going through chaotic times right now. Pick yourself up. We can do this next week. But also just it helps you call out the areas that you can be better at, because what often we can easily do is we can kind of lie to ourselves and we can kind of pretend that we're trying, but actually, we could do a lot better. So objectivity is, and it's really hard, by the way. So it's like, it's something that I try and do, and it's something that I'm trying to get better at, but it is really hard to be objective. What would be my best recommendations to improve it? Number one on the list would be journaling. Okay, so sitting down, spending maybe 5 minutes a day, ideally, but at least 5 minutes a week, just reviewing the areas that you want improvement on. So if you're looking to improve your health generally, you'd look at things like, what's my nutrition been like this week? What's my hydration been like this week? What's my step count been like this week? Have I got my 2 or 3 strength training sessions in this week? If it's business or career related, did I finish my project? Am I being as productive as I want to be this week? Did I get my top 3 things on my to-do list done this week? So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea and some ideas around how you can be more objective about your progress and not be so hard on yourself. Cool. Anyone else that's got any of their own lessons that want to share, then feel free to drop them down in the comments below. So I'm just gonna have a quick sip of water, guys. Okay, so we've got my last one. Maybe a little bit controversial, but my last big lesson is I've been hearing this term a lot, that the pandemic is could be the great they're calling it the Great Reset. Not sure how I feel about that yet, and I think the idea of the Great Reset is because there can be this whole pandemic can completely change the way that the world works, basically. I'm not going to get into that. What I do think the pandemic has done is I would change that lesson. I would call it, this is the Great Wake Up. Okay, not the Great Reset, but the Great Wake Up. I think if there's one thing we can learn from the pandemic is we really do need to take personal responsibility for our health. Okay, so and by the way, I'm not no anti-vax or anything like that. I think it's great that we have a vaccine on the way. I hope it's going to save many lives. But the truth of the matter is, we if there's one thing that we can learn from this whole thing, and just even right now, if we look at what's going to happen over the next 12 to 24 months, if you're in a healthy state, if you're not obese, if you're not vitamin depleted, you're going to have a far better chance of fighting this virus. And we shouldn't need a virus to kind of wake us up to the fact that we should be working on our health regularly anyway. But one thing that I'm kind of a little bit concerned about is how much people are relying purely on a vaccine, thinking that this is the thing that's going to save them. And we really don't know yet. We don't know what the stats are going to be. They're talking about 90% efficacy, but that's not looking at all different age populations. Some projections are for the elderly, it's more like 30-40%. So we really don't know. If we look at the flu vaccine, for instance, I was really shocked, if I'm honest. 'Cause this is an area that I've never studied, but I was really shocked to find out that the flu shot will often only have a success rate of around 40 to 60%. Okay, so do we really want to rest our laurels on something that's only got maybe only a 40% success rate? So the truth of the matter is, we always want to put ourselves in the best position we can be in. So yes, if a vaccine helps, fantastic. But the thing that's going to help even more on top of that is being in great health. And it seems to me that this is a message that isn't really talked about that much. It's all about the vaccine. It's all about the vaccine is going to be the thing that saves us. I'm not hearing much on improving your health. So if there's one lesson that we can all take from this whole chaotic 12, 13 months it's not that long. It's about 10 months, isn't it? Jesus, we need to take responsibility. That we don't know how much this vaccine is going to save us. So honestly, guys, if you listen to this now or on the record, if you know the areas where you can really pull things up, then start doing it. What we do know already is that this virus is not doing so well for people that have obesity, that have diabetes, that are vitamin depleted, particularly vitamin D. If you are deficient in vitamin D, vitamin C, that's definitely an area to look at immediately. But ultimately, just getting in good health, working on your gut health, working on losing some weight, getting to a healthy weight, is going to put you in the best state possible, so that if you were to get this awful virus, you're going to be able to beat it. Okay, so hopefully, I don't think that's too controversial, really, but it's just stating the obvious, really. But it seems to me that it's a message that isn't talked about enough. So anyway, guys, I hope you have found these lessons to be of use. I'd love to know which ones that you personally maybe are going to take away with you. So just a bit of a summary. I talked about intermittent fasting. I shared the lesson of how 16-8 has been working really well with me, alongside using exogenous ketones. In business, I talked about the importance of building relationships, reading more fiction to help me become a better writer. I talked about the importance of redefining your business or your job role so that you have more purpose within it, and so that people understand what you are about. I talked about in mindset, not waiting until it's too late. So, don't wait until it's too late from a mobility, nutrition, health standpoint. From a productivity point of view, I talked about getting specific with your to-do list. So don't just write stuff down that you've got to do. Write down why you've got to do them, and write down how you're going to do them. And the chances of you actually completing that to-do list is going to increase massively. Talked about objectivity. So taking an objective approach to your progress. Okay, not being so damn hard on yourself is key. Fitness-wise, I talked about remembering to get your deep tissue work in. Okay, so whether it's going for a deep tissue massage or whether it's doing some deep tissue work yourself. I also talked about batching your cardio. So this is about getting more done in less time. So getting your steps in, getting your calories burnt whilst maybe consuming content, maybe listening to a podcast like this. Okay. And also talked about being an all-rounder, not sticking to one lane, not just doing the running or just doing the cycling or just doing the strength training. Think about your health as a whole. Look at all the different compartments to it, whether it's your cardiovascular fitness, your strength, your endurance, okay? And obviously, lastly, the great wake-up lesson. It's time for us to take responsibility for our health, for our well-being, and not rest all our laurels on others, okay? So I hope you found that useful. Thanks for tuning in. And it's been great to kind of be able to do this still, and it's been great feedback that I've been getting. Thanks to everyone that's continued to support us. We're just about to kick off online 6-week transformation challenge with our members. We have a couple of spots still available. So if anyone wants to get involved or wants to learn more about that, we have daily training sessions. We have workshops similar to this, but going a bit more detailed. We have you get access to one-to-one coaching calls with myself and a whole lot of other awesome stuff. So get in touch. You can do that by either messaging me via one of these platforms, or you can drop us an email over at admin@lifestyle-pt.co.uk. Take care, guys. Speak to you soon.